Good morning, lecturer and classmates. Welcome to Education Hotline Live, where we discuss important issues in education. I am your host, Zipporah Morris. Today's topic is: Was the examiner correct in criticizing Kyle's formal topic to sentence outline? To answer this question, we have invited two education experts and will also hear from two callers who have questions about the outline. By the end of today's program, we will critically evaluate Kyle's outline, explain whether we agree with the examiner's comment, recommend improvements, justify the most appropriate exploratory method, present a revised introduction, demonstrate how the tease paragraph structure should be used. Let's welcome our first education expert, Kimari McKenzie.
Thank you, host. After carefully reviewing Kyle's outline, our group agrees with the examiner's comments. The examiner was correct in stating that Kyle's outline is not a proper formal topic to sentence outline and that improvements are needed in its presentation, structure, clarity, and content. A formal topic to sentence outline is not just a rough plan or a list of ideas. It is a structured outline that uses clear, complete sentences to show the main argument of the essay and how each paragraph will develop that argument. In Kyle's case, the outline gives the general topic, but it does not fully show how the essay will be organized or developed. It looks more like a basic essay plan than a formal topic to sentence outline. One major weakness is the thesis statement. Kyle's thesis says, universal secondary education is the situation in which all learners have access to and are obligated to attend secondary school. This sentence defines universal secondary education, but it does not answer the assignment question. The topic asks for the reasons for the shift towards universal secondary education in the Eastern Caribbean. Therefore, the thesis should identify the main reasons for that shift. For example, it should mention factors such as human rights, social equity, and global or regional development pressures. A stronger thesis would clearly guide the reader by saying what caused the shift, not just what universal secondary education means. Another issue is that several parts of the outline are written as short phrases rather than complete sentences. For example, under the introduction, Kyle lists the importance of education, the importance of universal secondary education, and thesis statement. These are not full sentences, and they do not explain what the introduction will actually say. A formal topic to sentence outline should use complete statements such as, education is important because it supports personal development, social mobility, and national progress. That kind of sentence gives the reader a clearer idea of the content. Kyle's body paragraph sections also need improvement. Although the headings identify possible reasons such as human rights, social equity, and global pressure, the supporting points under each heading are too vague. For instance, he writes, explanation of reason and supporting evidence of reason. These are placeholders, not real subpoints. They do not tell the reader what evidence will be used or how the reason supports the thesis. In a proper outline, each subpoint should state a specific idea. For example, under the point about social equity, Kyle could write, expanding access to secondary education helped reduce inequality by allowing more students from lower income backgrounds to continue their schooling. That sentence is much clearer and more useful. There is also a problem with consistency and alignment. The outline should show a clear connection between the thesis, the topic sentences, and the supporting details. However, because Kyle's thesis does not list the actual reasons for the shift, the body paragraphs do not clearly connect back to it. This weakens the overall coherence of the outline. A reader should be able to look at the thesis and immediately see how each body paragraph supports it. Another weakness appears in the conclusion. Kyle says the conclusion will include a summary of main reasons with recommendations for future action. However, the original topic asks him to discuss the reasons for the shift towards universal secondary education. It does not ask for recommendations. While recommendations may sometimes be useful in certain essays, they are not necessary here and could distract from the purpose of the assignment. The conclusion should mainly restate the thesis, summarize the major reasons, and end with a final statement about the significance of universal secondary education in the Eastern Caribbean. Overall, the examiner's comments were fair because Kyle's outline does not follow the proper conventions of a formal topic to sentence outline. It contains an unclear thesis, incomplete phrases, vague subpoints, and weak alignment between the main ideas. To improve it, Kyle needs to revise the thesis so that it directly answers the topic, rewrite the outline using complete sentences, and ensure that each body paragraph has clear subpoints that support the main argument. With these changes, the outline would become more organized, more academic, and much easier to use as the foundation for a strong 5-paragraph essay.
Hello, good day, caller. You on air. Welcome to Education Hotline.
Hello everyone, my name is Ariana and I'm a student. I have a question regarding Kyle's outline. If Kyle had good ideas, why was his outline still considered weak?
Yes, thank you for your question. I think it's an important one because so many students believe that having good ideas automatically leads to a good grade, when in reality, academic writing requires both strong ideas as well as strong organization. Even the very best ideas can lose their impact if they are not presented well, clearly, and logically. A formal topic to sentence outline is so much more than a planning document. It is the framework for the entire essay. It helps people to organize their thoughts, maintain focus, and ensure every paragraph contributes to writing the essay question, to actually answering the essay question. When an outline is well written, it becomes much easier to write a clear, coherent, and well-structured essay. Looking at Kyle's outline, there are quite a few practical improvements that could be made that could make it so much stronger. The first improvement is the thesis statement. A thesis statement should do so much more than just introduce the topic. It should present the essay's main argument while also previewing the major points that will be discussed in the body paragraphs. This gives reader a very clear understanding of what to expect and keeps the essay focused from beginning to end. Kyle's thesis explains the topic, but it does not clearly communicate what direction the essay is going in. Strengthening this one sentence would improve the entire outline. The second improvement is consistency. This is a formal topic to sentence outline. Every heading and supporting point should be written as a complete sentence. Kyle's alternate between complete sentences and short phrases, making the outline appear inconsistent. Using clear sentences throughout demonstrates careful planning and ensures that every point expresses a complete idea. Another area that needs improvement is the organization of the body paragraphs. Each paragraph should begin with one clear topic sentence that introduces the main idea of that paragraph. Every supporting sentence should then explain, develop, or provide evidence of that topic sentence. For supporting points, if they are unrelated or unclear, readers will struggle to follow the writer's reasoning. Strong organization allows ideas to flow naturally from one paragraph into the next. Transitions are also important. Although outlines are brief, they should still show a logical progression of ideas. Each point should build upon the previous one, so the essay develops in a meaningful sequence instead of appearing as unrelated pieces of information. Good organization makes the writer's argument that much easier to understand. The conclusion also deserves attention. A common mistake among students is introducing new ideas to the end of an essay. The conclusion should reinforce the discussion by briefly summarizing the major points and restating the significance of the thesis. Kyle's outline introduces recommendations in the conclusion, which weakens the effectiveness altogether because those ideas have not been discussed in the body at all. Overall, these revisions would improve the outline by making it clearer, more organized, and more consistent with the conversations of formal academic writing. More importantly, they would provide a solid blueprint for producing a strong final essay. To justify the most appropriate expository, our group selected process analysis. Process analysis is an expository writing method used to explain how something happens or the steps involved in completing a process, rather than simply describing a topic. It guides readers through events or actions in a logical order. This makes it especially useful when explaining procedures, systems, or consequences. In Kyle's assignment, the focus is on explaining the main steps taken to ensure inclusion in the education system of Trinidad and Tobago. Because the topic emphasizes how inclusion is achieved, process analysis provides the most logical way to organize this information. It allows each stage of the process to be explained clearly before moving to the next one. For example, the writer could begin by discussing government policies that promote inclusive education. Next, the essay could explain the teacher's training and professional development. After that, it could describe curriculum adaptations, classroom support services, and accommodations for students with diverse learning needs. Finally, it could explain and examine how these combined efforts create a more inclusive educational environment. Another advantage of process analysis is that it creates logical flow. Readers are able to follow the progression of ideas without becoming confused or overwhelmed. Since each stage naturally leads to the next, the essay becomes easier to read and understand. This method also helps the writer to remain focused instead of presenting ideas randomly. The writer follows a structured sequence that ensures every paragraph contributes to explaining the overall process.
Hello everyone, my name is Alison Thomas and I am calling as a teacher. First, I would like to thank our panel of experts for sharing such valuable insights and explanations throughout today's discussion. Their comments have helped us better understand what is expected when preparing a formal topic-to-sentence outline. From today's discussion, it is clear that the examiner's comments were justified because Kyle's outline did not fully follow the correct structure of a formal topic-to-sentence outline. While the ideas presented were relevant to the topic, they were not organized in the proper format, and some important elements required for academic writing were either missing or underdeveloped. We also learned that a strong thesis is one of the most important parts of an introduction. It should clearly express the main idea of the essay while previewing the key points that will be discussed in the body paragraphs. This gives readers a clear understanding of what to expect and provides direction for the entire essay. Another important lesson is that every point in a formal topic-to-sentence outline should be written as a complete sentence rather than a phrase or a few words. Complete sentences make the writer's ideas clearer, demonstrate logical thinking, and provide a solid foundation for developing each body paragraph in the final essay. Our experts also explained that process analysis is the most suitable expository method for this topic because the essay focuses on explaining the steps taken to ensure inclusion in the education system of Trinidad and Tobago. Since the purpose is to describe how inclusion is achieved through different actions and initiatives, this method allows the information to be presented in a clear, logical, and organized sequence. In addition, we discussed the importance of writing an effective introduction. A strong introduction should begin by providing relevant background information that introduces the topic and captures the audience's interest. It should then conclude with a clear and focused thesis statement that establishes the purpose of the essay and previews the main supporting points.
Education is a fundamental human right that should be accessible to every child, regardless of backgrounds or ability. Inclusive education ensures that students of all abilities learn together in supportive learning environments where diversity is respected and valued. In Trinidad and Tobago, the Ministry of Education has introduced several important steps to promote inclusion. This essay explains how inclusive policies, teacher preparation, curriculum adaptation, and student support services work together to create a more inclusive education system.
We also learned about the tease paragraph structure, which helps writers develop well-organized and effective body paragraphs. Each paragraph should begin with a clear topic to sentence, followed by an explanation of the main idea, supporting evidence from reliable sources, another explanation showing how the evidence supports the point, and finally, a sentence that links the discussion back to the thesis. Using this structure helps ensure that ideas are logical, coherent, and fully developed. Overall, making these improvements would strengthen Kyle's outline by making it more organized, more detailed, and easier to follow. More importantly, it will provide a strong framework for writing a clear, coherent, and well-supported final essay that meets the expectations of the examiner. Thank you for joining us on Education Hotline Live. We hope today's discussion has given you a better understanding of the characteristics of a formal topic-to-sentence outline and has provided practical tips that you can apply in your own.
Thank you, experts. Thank you, callers. It was a pleasure having you in our program today. I am your host, Paul Morris. See you on the next episode on Education Hotline.